Hey guys, what's going on? Flawless Exotic Creations, Will and the infamous Audra.
Yeah. You was close to trying to refer to me as Pinky, weren't you?
No, I would not. That's the old video, baby. I told them I was Pinky.
Yeah.
So
It really does. It really does depend on the week who's Pinky and who's the brain.
anyway, guys, we're coming to you guys from the vault today. Going to give you a little insight. Actually, was talking up with William, and I said, you know what, let's knock a video out. So came down here to knock this video out. As you can halfway see,
Yep.
this is in real life the size comparison of the cypress that we are now using. So yeah, we went out, we picked up a huge truckload and brought it back. We used cocoa from the very beginning. And why do this switch? Well, number one, cocoa is extremely expensive.
Yes, it is.
Audra reminded me every single time that we had to pick up a trailer full of cocoa.
You guys, I am like, if you really want to know a lot of my number one job in our life, period.
It's stress, to add stress to the equation.
It is to count pennies as it pertains to our budget.
So
he's like, here's a snake. Here's a snake. Everybody gets a snake, right? And
whatever.
Like,
we need what we need.
Yes.
But so in general, if we were to get a pallet of cocoa, it would be over $1,000, somewhere in the range of $1,200 to $1,300.
Yes.
And there's a lot of positives, so we don't want to kind of downplay it, because for us, we didn't want to kind of go off on that adventure. As far as that, we're trying to capitalize on so many different angles on the business side here, as well as the crested geckos. We're being pulled in a ton of different directions as far as the business aspects go. And we did not want to take on the challenge of being a distributor, shipping cocoa, or even lugging cocoa to shows, especially since we don't even vend with snakes yet. And we just didn't want to kind of take that on. So in general, we were aiming to pretty much get a pallet of cocoa every year. So that was worked into the budget, you know,
yes.
$1,200 to $1,400, whatever, per year for the budget. But then when you start kind of hyper focusing on the budget and trying to figure out not necessarily where you can cut corners, but what may be a good thing to try. Maybe it can offer you a better product.
Yep.
Maybe you're facing some issues, which we'll kind of talk about in this video, and it makes you want to kind of switch things up and change things up. So, do we like cocoa? Yes, we do. I think both products in general are probably going to have some drawbacks. But as far as with cypress, not really seeing too many drawbacks.
No.
I had questions when we first picked it up. I was a little concerned with the cut of the cypress. Everyone's cypress that I've seen has been a bit more chunkier.
Yes. So in similar fashion to the other mediums.
Exactly. So, you know, this finer cut, I'm like, oh, we're going to have some issues with it. And so far, been issue free.
Yep.
But some of the cons for cocoa, we've heard it from Darren numerous times, but it's going to be the dyeing of the tubs.
Yes.
Also, it can dye your snake's belly. You can run into some issues there.
We've really seen that as an issue with the water cups, with our water cups.
Right. It'll dye your water cups and you'll be scrubbing them forever. So those are kind of the biggest complaints. Coming in as a close second, I mean, we're super hyper vigilant. You know, she's always on me about spending so much time down here with the snakes, but
I am not.
Yes, she is.
You're a lie.
She's like, when you're coming up, when you come, golly, you almost
Listen here.
Hey, I'm blinking twice. I'm being abused.
Oh, he's gonna be abused. He's lying.
No, I'm not.
You are lying.
She messages and calls numerous times. How much longer are you gonna be down there? I'm like, I'm spot cleaning.
No,
I'm swapping.
Okay, let's do the real. Let's say the real. It's because I'm up at the house creating dinner for this man, for our family. For our family. And there are certain things that we're supposed to go and do or have or be on time for, and that's why I'm messaging how long you gonna be, so I can figure out when to make his plate. so that it's hot for him when he comes up.
You better. That's right.
You better recognize.
So,
about to open up a can on you.
The other thing about cocoa is it can mold on you,
yes.
Especially if the water bowl overflows, or maybe your snake wants to kind of put their body in their bowl and kind of push their water out. Your cocoa can mold on you. So with this product here, show it off once again.
Once again.
It comes in this huge bag. There's no label on it. I would say per volume, I would probably go as far, because this is already broken up. Cocoa comes compressed and you got to break it up. That's not a huge issue for us. We break it up typically dry and put it in our totes, as we'll show you. But here,
yeah, this is a lot easier on my hands.
Yeah, on her hands. But at the same time, I would say a brick compared to this will probably be, this is probably maybe 1.5 times the size of a dry brick.
Yes.
How many we got? We ended up getting 68 bags, and so far, I mean, it's been a success. We're loving the experience so far. We go through roughly maybe a bag a week.
Bag a week, that's what I was thinking.
And we try to keep everything kind of in a little system. So that brings up why we're doing this video. We had to change the standards a little bit on what we go by here at Flawless. So one of our logistical standards of filling our totes with cocoa, having the boys bring it down, fill things up. We have 2 totes down here full of cocoa. Now, one significant thing that had to change was because this cypress stays super wet and moist.
Yes.
The good thing about cypress is it hasn't mold and it doesn't mold. Correct. Excited. But in these bags, they are aerated. They have holes in them, but the holes are so small. We've had these bags now sitting for weeks and they still come out damp. So we brought down a fresh bag to actually show you how it actually works and looks when we go to put it in, versus cocoa that's been sitting down here for a little bit. I want to show that as well so you can understand what we're doing.
Yes.
We have a smart facility. You can tell them a little bit about it.
Yes, we do. We have a smart facility. As you guys know, we first started off with crested geckos. And when we built this facility, we had crested geckos in mind, obviously. Right. So when we did that, it's very important that you keep crested geckos hydrated. They have to have humidity. They have to, or they will perish.
Right.
So, and it's a consistent. You don't want spikes in any type of temperature or humidity. So when we built this, because of that, we had that in mind. Our whole facility is, other than our 2 doors on either end of our facility, we have no windows. We don't do any of that, so that we can keep our humidity in. That being said, us living in the South, it created a lot of humidity. Right. So in an effort to create such a smart system that we are always and consistently having the correct humidity, we have a dehumidifier and a humidifier, and it is all on our apps that we can control anywhere in the world. Right. So there's that.
And then with the dehumidifier, it has, you can set it up several ways. There's actually a drum where we had it set up on initially. It pulls the moisture out of the air into this huge drum. And then pretty much once it hits a max line, you come down, you can dump it. Yes. It will notify you that it's filled and that you need to kind of dump it.
The problem is that it fills up really fast.
Yeah, especially when it's pulling. Well, fast is relative, but you know, a week or so it will fill up, and then you had to come down and it'll notify you you have to dump it. But now we've kind of passed that up.
And yes, we have, because we found that because of where it's located, it's kind of high. And we have to use ladders and take everything apart and all of this kind of mess. So
we have it sitting on top of our Sea Serpent's hot box.
Yes. Yep. And so it's kind of difficult, specifically for me. I told him, look, you're gonna have to do this, because I'm gonna end up falling off this ladder and breaking my neck. I'm not very graceful, you guys. So like anything we can do to keep me standing on the ground is a better alternative. So he has to get up. You know, he was having to get up there constantly and break it down and move things. And anytime you move equipment, technology, or any of those things, you're taking a chance on something not functioning right afterwards.
So being that we have our thermostats and everything that's regulating our hatchling rack and everything near the dehumidifier, it was best to kind of, I guess you would say, it's not hardwired, but hard hose, I guess, into the drainage system, you know, because we have drainage and plumbing and everything down here. So ran a hose from the dehumidifier into the double slop sink. So now we never have to drain the reserve bucket at all. So it sits up on this pedestal and it drains down into the sink and goes out into the drainage. So it's a perfect setup that we never pretty much have to do anything other than clean the filters. Yep. All right. So what does that bring us to with the cypress? With the cypress now, with the cocoa we never added moisture. We broke it up. We did videos on it. We broke it up, left it dry in a tub because it was just easier, you know, to add a little water to it, spray it down when we're actually fixing up the tubs. But now we actually don't have to do that. We actually have to have a drying out phase, which you're about to see on how it works.
Yes.
So here we go. So this tote, I won't shake it up too much just yet, but this is the Cypress Reserve, all right? In here, it's kind of half full. We do really wait till it's all the way down to empty. And the reason we wait till it's all the way down to empty is because underneath it, we have another identical tote. We'll just sit it up on the edge. We have another identical tote with the lid on it. Now this one, you open it and boom, just like I expected, it's still moist, okay? Now the moisture's in here. This is how it looks when it's moist. And this is also why we love that it doesn't mold, because we will go to this one next week. So we will add this one up and it'll be lidless and aerating next week. So again, here's what it looks like dry. And you know, when we're down here pretty much on the daily, I tend to mix it up a little bit. So I'll come down and I'll move it, and now you see the change,
color change
in the color, where you bring up some of the more moist to the top and just kind of mix it up. So, you know, when we're not really using it, we just kind of mix it up a little bit. But again, the temp of this is the current temperature in here. It's been sitting down here probably for 2-3 weeks at this point. Yep. Other than the initial changeover, we do have a lot of snakes in our collection. But again, when they have a full shed, we give them a brand new tub when they have a full shed, and we spot clean for anything else. So every snake is getting a brand new tub every single pretty much 30 days. So I guess 25 to 30 days. And we spot clean on a regular basis. And again, the temperature here is going to be the temperature of the facility. And right now, I believe the temperature of the facility is 77, anywhere from 77 up to 80 degrees. When we're down here working, the temperature rises. Mm-hmm. So again, this big old bag that we were just showing you is huge. We'll work the transition. Easy to open, but not easy to really pop holes in. Typically 2 bags will fill this up pretty much to the brim. Brim, whatever.
The rims.
We try to be extra careful not to spill it, because everything counts. And the same thing applies. So again,
this literally, I mean, guys, this literally cut our budget by like literally quarters.
Oh yeah.
If not more than that, really.
1,200 on the low side to 1,400, all the way down to 275 basically, in a 10-hour drive round trip. So that's not bad at all. So this one now we'll transfer to the bottom, put the lid on this one, and bring the bottom one to the top. And that's pretty much it. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this style of a video. We really enjoyed making it. Again, trying to show you the operational or logistic process and how things can change over time when the products you use change as well.
Yes.
We're not going to be stuck, you know, in any way trying to stick to one permanent thing when something else can benefit us or the business model.
And it's our opinion. It's how best works for us,
right,
where we are, you know,
absolutely,
in the country. Obviously, different places call for different things, but this works really well for us.
Absolutely.
Currently.
So, and also, you know, you would think, why have like a two-tier system, 2 tubs, one kind of aerating while one being stored? Well, that has actually a purpose as well. So the tub that you saw that was underneath, it kind of almost acting as a pedestal, when we opened that up, it still had wet cypress. We kind of cycle the tubs, you know, between that being the new one and the top one empty. Once we empty out the top one, which we did this video just as an example, but once we empty out the top one, we would fill the top one with that bag and then put the top on that one, and now that one becomes the pedestal, and now the one that was sitting on the bottom becomes the top one without a lid. So it'll now be lidless, and then now that's adding moisture into the air of the vault and increasing the humidity, and when it hits that point, the dehumidifier would now decrease the humidity. So it really acts hand in hand. If you think about why is that a benefit, that's a benefit because think about the weather right now. It's 20 degrees outside.
Yes.
And for the purpose of this video, plus we needed to fill up the tub kinda, the boys falling off a little bit, but we brought that down pretty much from the house. Yes. So when we bring that down 20 degrees outside, we don't know what the actual temperature is on this cypress that we brought down. But being that we probably won't even get to this bag that's in there for the next 2 weeks, it allows that bag, whether moist or not, to, how do you say it? Acclimate. There we go, baby. See, this is the brains, pinky. But it allows that bag, all that cypress that we're putting down here to acclimate to the current temperature down here.
Because obviously if it's 20 degrees and we're storing it where we're storing it, you know, it's not quite as cold as outside.
Right, it's not quite as cold, but it's still colder than it is down here.
And you wouldn't want to stick your
snake in there on cold, wet cypress. You're just asking for trouble. So that's why we went about that. So just again, just throwing it out there, just in case you want to know why we're doing it that way. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, any questions, pop them down below. We're loving this ride, loving this journey. Hey, shout out to Craig, Bash Coder, for the merch, if I could talk. And we're out.
Wait, and Flawless Crested Geckos.
And Flawless Crested Geckos, definitely. Just kidding. But check us out at the Southeast Reptile Expo.
Yep, we will be there.
We will be there. Flawless Crested Geckos, vending with a ton of your favorite crested geckos. But still, come by, chat us up. Let's talk snakes, snake projects, take pictures. Very welcoming to any information and any visits. But it's Will, Audra, Flawless Exotic Creations, and we are out.
Bye.